Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news in what will probably be our last video of the day, but a bit of a recap of what is going on with Jadon Sancho and what has been a massively all over the place crazy day for United, but ultimately ends up with nobody signing. All that effort, all that news, and we come out of it. Where do we come out of it? And that's what we're going to be talking about, because there are some updates. There's updates on Tellez, there's updates on Jovic, there's updates on Dembele, but we'll start off with Jadon Sancho. Obviously, we were live earlier this evening at 6:30, where Sky Sports was saying that a bid for Jadon Sancho had been rejected. I think we can pretty much take into account that that didn't happen. I think, obviously there's information out there that you can all take. I've spoken to somebody about an hour ago and they've said, look, the bid when Man United go in is likely to be between 90 and 110 million in total, and that's what they will do, and that's the deal that they know they need to do, and they've got to decide to do that. So this deal that Sky were talking about, which 70 plus 20, it's not even the same one that they were talking about that Romano was on about in August. So it doesn't appear that United have actually made a bid, and unfortunately I felt that last summer maybe Sky Sports were quite accurate. I think this summer, have they been accurate on anything to do with United really? They've not been we've only done 2 deals to be fair, but it feels like Sky Sports have got that wrong. And then, you look at yesterday, they've got Dortmund. They're talking at Dortmund, saying there's going to be no deal. You've got Marco Reus. Sky Sports reported that, saying he's going to stay for a year. Then they're saying there's a bid. And I think Sky are getting a lot of things wrong at the moment. And it's a shame. But, that sometimes happens with Sky. They'll have a good summer and they'll have a bad summer. And I think Sky Sports have got it wrong there. I think the most telling update I've seen, and from what I've heard and from what I've spoken to and from what I've seen, I would use Manchester Evening News, and what they've basically said is that Manchester United on Ousmane Dembele, he is only ever seen as an emergency loan option and is highly unlikely to happen because he doesn't want to come. Thanks for the super chat, the Walls of Jericho. And on Jadon Sancho, United are still planning on and making a last-ditch effort for Jadon Sancho before Monday's transfer deadline closes in 6 days, but that no bid has been made. And actually, a very interesting line in the Manchester Evening News. Manchester United sources have said no bid has been made, and this talk of a bid, in their opinion, is to exert pressure on Dortmund to accept a lower price. Which sounds weird, because that reads that Manchester United think that this talk of a bid has been brought out to exert pressure on Dortmund. Well, you would think Manchester United would put that information out to exert pressure on Dortmund. But Man United are saying, well, we haven't put a bid and we're not the ones exerting pressure. So is it the British media trying to exert pressure onto Dortmund? Because Manchester United are denying that, and they're denying that there's any bid. And from what we know, Manchester United and Dortmund are still discussing a fee through intermediaries, which is something that Romano mentioned way back at the end of July, I think, that United and Dortmund do deal through an intermediary, and that is what is currently happening at the moment. So you've also got Jadon Sancho, who is not going to play for Dortmund tomorrow night. I think that's quite telling. I do. The Daily Mail, take it with a pinch of salt, but they're saying that Dortmund are saying that Sancho's come down with a mystery respiratory illness, which isn't COVID-19. And, there's plenty of things out there about Aubameyang having something like this, and Sancho doing it himself when he left to go to Dortmund from Man City. So, where are we at with Jadon Sancho at the moment? And I think we are further, in my opinion, we are further than where we were this morning. I think we've had significant updates that, one, he's not going to play for Dortmund tomorrow night. I feel, and this is speculation, and I've not been told this, I feel that Sancho is realising that time is running out. And I think he's been nice about it. I think he's been respectful about it. I think he's played games for Dortmund. I think, without publicly saying he wants to go, I think he's sort of letting Dortmund know that he wants to go, and he feels that a deal can be done, and I think that's why he's not part of the game tomorrow. It's only a theory, I've not been told that, and you know what, Jadon Sancho could come out and say no, I test positive for COVID tomorrow, and obviously that wouldn't be the case. But I just feel that this is, I think, one of the things that people don't realise, and I don't think a lot of United fans realise this. This is the move that Jadon Sancho wants. Jadon Sancho wants to be playing in the Premier League. And I don't think enough people grasp this. Everyone thinks about Dortmund and everyone thinks about Man United. And Man United are talking about we're not going to spend 108 million. And Dortmund are saying we're not going to let him go for anything less than 108 million. But he's not an object. He's a footballer. And I don't think people look at it from Jadon Sancho's point of view. And whether you've heard this publicly, privately or whatever, Jadon Sancho wants to come and play for Manchester United, and he wants to come and play in the Premier League. He's a young lad who, and young people don't tend to be patient. You know, they want what they can grab while they can get it. And I think Jadon Sancho wants to be playing in the Premier League right now. And I think Jadon Sancho sees an opportunity to come and play for a team that he wants to play for. You know, with younger players like Rashford, and he knows Lingard, and you've got Mason Greenwood and Jadon and Anthony Martial. I think he wants to come and play for Manchester United. I know he wants to come and play for Manchester United. He wants to come and play in the Premier League. He's not German. The Bundesliga is not the Premier League, and he wants to showcase his talent in the biggest league in the world, and that's the Premier League. And I don't think people understand that enough. So I think that Jadon Sancho, it would not surprise me if there is something going on, that he is starting to say, look, I want this deal. I've come here for a very cheap price. You're going to make a lot of money on me. I've been good for you. You've been good for me. But it's time for me to go, and this is the opportunity I want. I want to do it. And that's why when I look at that tweet from earlier from Graham Bailey, where he said there is an appetite from all parties to get this deal done, I'm 90% sure it will be done. And I think where we're at the moment is the wheels are starting to move. They've not been moving much for the last 5 weeks, but the wheels are starting to move. Sancho's starting to see time's running out. United are preparing to do what they do. And Dortmund, I think, are waking up to reality that they're going to have to find a way of doing this deal. In fairness to Dortmund, they can't do it for 70 million. And United are going to have to go higher than that. But I feel around the 100 million mark. And I don't think United will pay 100 million. I do agree on that. I've always said that. I think I said 85 million back in April. I think the things have changed with that. But I think United will do a deal around 85, 90 million pounds with add-ons that take it beyond 100. And I've always felt that that would be the structure of the deal. Do you think we will end up paying for Sancho what they wanted months ago, just like with Maguire and others, says Marcus Wynn? Well, no, I don't think we will pay 108 million. I don't think we'll pay 108 million. Evening Mark, I think we will collectively will do that. And I think add-ons will be part of that, or instalments will be part of that. But I don't think we'll go there's 100 million quid. And to be fair to Dortmund, I don't think they've ever said they want that. I think people get confused that because Romano says it's 120 million. And what Romano actually said tonight was that there was a feeling maybe Manchester United thought that Dortmund would cave in towards the end of the transfer window, but it's 120 million euro. That's what they want. And I think people think, oh shit, we've got to pay 120 million euro. We've got to pay 108 million. We haven't. Dortmund want a big upfront fee. That big upfront fee can be 80, 90 million. And then add-ons up to 180 or instalments. I think that's how it will be done. Evening, Mark. Crazy days for the United Stad. Good on you all keeping us in the loop. Any thoughts on us being linked with a striker at the 11th hour, Cavani, etc., PR, or are we desperate for anyone, says Loz? Well, I mean, look, let me just cap up on the Sancho thing and then we'll move on to the other things. Because there's an update on Tellez as well. I think we've progressed today with the Sancho deal. And I think that I'm not actually expecting much tomorrow. I don't know. I don't have information about when this deal is going to happen. And to be honest with you, nobody does. Fabrizio Romano doesn't. The person I speak to doesn't. The person Drawty speaks to doesn't. Who's got a good contact. Nobody knows. And I've always been at pains to say this. I can't tell you when this is going to happen because nobody I know knows when it's going to happen. It could happen on Monday, it could happen on Thursday or Friday. I want it to happen before the Spurs game. I think Spurs are finding a rhythm. They've won tonight with their reserves on penalties against Chelsea. I think they're finding a rhythm, and I think we need to find a boost. The reason I don't think much will happen tomorrow is because we've got a match tomorrow, and I don't think United traditionally like to have match days overshadowed with big deals. But that doesn't mean there won't be progression in talks. And remember, Romano's very close to this deal. So if it moves forward again tomorrow, and I also, what I think the problem now is as well, look at what Sky Sports have done tonight. They've jumped the gun and they've been proven wrong. We are going to get people jumping the gun. I always say that people like Duncan Castles, they do tend to be right, but sometimes they jump a bit early. And what we might see is that tomorrow we might see people jumping a bit early on the deal because something is definitely moving and it's got to move because time's running out. So I think in summary, Sancho, the bid hasn't gone in yet. The discussions between intermediaries are moving and moving fast. Sancho may well be pushing something somewhere. And I think we're going to see progression. But look, it's only Tuesday night. We've still got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And that, 6 days isn't long. But when things start turning, there is still time. So let's see what happens with tomorrow on Sancho. But I'm certainly very confident that that's going to happen. On Alex Tellez, James Ducker, The Telegraph, is saying that Manchester United and Benfica are still £6 million apart. Well, you can pretty much predict what that is. Porto want 20 million, 18 million quid. United want to pay 12 million, 6 million apart. So think what you like about that, but that's where we are. And I think that's been known for at least 48 hours now, that United only want to pay 12, Porto wants 18. My opinion on this is that Man United are taking too long to do a deal that's not groundbreaking. He's a good left back. He's not one of the world's best left backs, I don't think. He's not Alphonso Davies and he's not Andy Robertson. He's a very good left back. We do need him, but we shouldn't be taking this long over it. It's 6 million quid at the end of the day. We're doing to Roma with Smalling what they're doing to us. Doesn't make it right. We could be focusing on different things, and United, the way they're run, can't be working on a Telles deal, a Sanchez deal, a Smalling deal, and any other deal. We haven't got enough people to do that. So the sooner you do the Telles deal and leave it to the publicity for his shirt holding up and move on to something else, the better. I think we will get Telles done. I think we're playing the long game. We think Porto want the money, but there is rumours from Portugal that Porto would rather lose the money than lose 6 million. So we'll see how that goes. Welcome to the Members Club, Ricky Barbrook. I do want to get into your questions, by the way. Hi, Mark. You've been selling us hopes and dreams all summer on Sancho. If you're proven wrong, will you offer an apology to the United Stand fans, says Mr. Unapologetic. Well, it's quite a good name there, because no, I won't. Why should I apologise? If I was negotiating this deal, he would have signed by now. I'm just telling you what I know about it. I've got no control over whether United pull out or go and get the deal done. I can only tell you what I know. It's not false dreams, is it? Because Fabrizio Romano's spoken about it. Simon Stone's spoken about it. James Cooper's spoken about it. Loads of people have spoken about it. All I've said is I'm 90% sure it'll happen. Let's see. I remain 90%. If I'm selling you false dreams, well, maybe you should form your own ideas based upon the evidence. Jovic is interesting to me. I quite like the idea of Jovic on a loan from Real Madrid. I think it's a load of bollocks, but I do quite like that idea. Cavani for me, no. 33 and a half, quite injury prone in the last year. £200,000 a week. I don't like these I didn't like the Ighalo deal. I like Ighalo. I didn't like the deal. He's 31. There's no future in it. I wanted Haaland. I want a striker who can offer us something. I don't think Man United would go for Jovic, by the way. But it's interesting that Di Marzio is speaking about Cavani and Jovic. Di Marzio's not the Daily Star, like I said earlier. So keep an eye on that. I think the encouraging thing with that is, or the unencouraging thing is that news about United looking at a striker because we're going to go from Cavani to Jovic to Josh King. My concern is we're going to get Josh King. It always has been. Or are we genuinely looking at a striker and we're looking at strikers of the quality of a Cavani and Jovic? Because to be honest with you, the difference between Jovic and Cavani compared to Josh King is the same as going from Sancho down to Sarr. They're big, there's quality. They're quality. So I would be sceptical of that. I'd be very sceptical of that. But it is Di Marzio. And look, Romano spends a lot of time quote tweeting Di Marzio. So there might be something in that. I would keep your eye on that one. Outgoings, Pereira is apparently saying his goodbyes tomorrow and will be gone on Thursday. Smalling, that's got to happen at some point. Time is running out in relation to outgoings, but there's a lot going on with Manchester United. Please acknowledge my existence, says Gustavo Torres. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone who's become a member actually this evening. Quite a few have. Thanks for joining. You get your little badge next to your name. And on Ousmane Dembele, look, I think that's good news. That that was something a few hours ago that people were getting a little bit excited about, concerned about, whatever. It feels to me like Ousmane Dembele just won't happen. I don't think Barcelona want to loan out Ousmane Dembele, and it looks like Manchester United wouldn't even go near, or wouldn't even considering spending money on it. So there are alternatives to Jadon Sancho, though. Let's be honest. Manchester United continually talk about alternatives to Jadon Sancho, and there are alternatives to Jadon Sancho. So who those alternatives are going to be, I don't think they'll ever see the light of day because I don't think it will matter. But they definitely are. They are looking at that. The negativity still continues, of course. Of course, there's going to be people out there who don't think this deal is going to happen, but I still very much are. Just a little bit of breaking news from Matt Law, who's a journalist. He says Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden are about to be left out of Gareth Southgate's latest England squad, which will be announced on Wednesday. For games against Wales, Denmark and Belgium, England are going to play 3 games in the next international break. Mason Greenwood won't be part of that. Fantastic. Good. I hope Rashford's not part of it as well. I don't really want England players playing in Man United England players playing 3 games in international break. So I couldn't give 2 shits really. I could not give 2 shits about Greenwood and whether he's going to get picked up by the England team. Doesn't matter to me in the slightest. Tellez, yeah. Well, look, let's see what happens on that one. I'm not gonna lose any sleep about that. I think Sancho now needs to hand in a transfer request to have this deal done. It also, sorry, I've just lost myself there. It also shows that he wants to come to us. We shouldn't go above £100 million for him, says Munir Shajar. I don't necessarily think that I'm ruining the illusion of my green screen here. Bloody thing. I don't necessarily think that a transfer request for Jadon Sancho will lead to him being allowed to go. Dortmund have got a reputation for being quite hardball. So I don't necessarily think that will mean the end. I don't think that necessarily will mean that Sancho will get his move. But I do think he will start to be manoeuvring in a respectful way behind the scenes. United put out rumours of alternatives to scare Dortmund into accepting a lower bid. Didn't work. Dortmund stood firm. Amateur see-through tactics from the broad, says Rohit. And I think that's interesting, Rohit, because if that Dembele thing, I've got to be honest, the Ousmane Dembele thing just felt odd to me. It felt really odd. Like, it had momentum behind it, and it was very, very quick around the time that we were meant to be putting a bid in for him. So I've got to admit, I'm with Rohit on that. It felt a little bit odd. And Dortmund aren't going to be stupid. Hi, Mark. It's my mate Sam's birthday. Can you wish him a happy birthday, says Jack Payne. Happy birthday to Sam. I bet Sancho to come at 10-3. Defo take Cavani, says Robert McCormack. And it was just saying on Sky Sports that a loan deal for Dembele is edging closer, says Gareth Carson. I mean, look. You can make your own minds up. I'm not here to make minds up. I'm here to express opinion and interact with you. So get your questions in. Romano said 2 hours ago United are going to bid 90 million and Dortmund are still saying it's nowhere near enough, says AAOJJ Gaming. And so let's say Sancho comes as well as Tellez or whoever else. Ollie's not the guy to piece the puzzle together. Good guy, but not the one for the future, says Jonathan Seja. I mean, just going back to, and thanks for the super chats, just going back to the Ousmane Dembele. I mean, Moussa Dembele looks like he's staying at Lyon, doesn't he? That's quite a surprise. If we get Ousmane Dembele on loan and we don't sign Jadon Sancho, what would your reaction be to that? My reaction would be, I think that's worse than Ismail Sarr. And I don't even want Sarr. I mean, Dembele on loan, what if he... Well, look, best case scenario, he doesn't get injured in the first week. He does really well. Barcelona would want a big fee next summer, and they might even want him back, so there's no future in that. If he comes in and he's no good and he gets injured, which is probably going to happen, how does that help us? I mean, I don't think... Ousmane Dembele at 23, I don't see what a loan deal does for Manchester United. It's not a future deal. And as I guarantee you, if he did well, loads of other clubs would want him anyway. It's a bit like Ceballos when he went to Arsenal. Arsenal would, if he'd had a brilliant season, there's no way in a million years Arsenal were going to get him. Real Madrid would have took him back, or somebody else would have outbid Arsenal to get him. So Ousmane Dembele on a loan, unless you've got it pinned down that we can have him for this fee if he does well, no, I don't want us anywhere near Ousmane Dembele. If I'm honest with you, I'd rather go for Sarr, and that one makes me cry. Chances of getting Bruno and Sancho on the show next year to thank the man who got them there. Agent Goldbridge will strike once more, says Sean Thornton. They'd have to watch it first. Jovic just followed United on Insta. I mean, look, Lucy, I saw a story about Jovic that he'd love to come to Manchester United, but it doesn't mean United are going to do that deal. Jovic's agent's probably been in... I mean, look, was it Andy Mitten was on about this a couple of weeks ago? You know, am I putting 2 and 2 together and making 5? But... making 4, but no, 5 would have been better. But he said something along the lines that there's an agent of a player that Manchester United fans would love to come to United, and United have not even replied to him. Now, let me tell you something about football, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said this before last summer transfer window. He said, you'd be surprised at the quality of player that wants to come to United. Well, we weren't surprised in the end of the day, but look, you might not know this, you might know this. Manchester United will have been contacted by lots of very good players this summer through their agent. I think Jovic wants to come to Manchester United. And I think Jovic's agent or whatever has contacted United and said he'd love to come to you. But United have got to want to do the deal. They've got to be able to afford the deal. And they've got to pick up the phone to Real Madrid and do the deal. And the same with Ousmane Dembele. If Jovic comes to Man United on loan, because I don't think we'd be able to afford him. If Jovic comes to United on loan and bangs 30 goals in, Real Madrid will want him straight back. Or somebody else will bid for him. So I don't see how Jovic comes to United. But I probably predict that his agent has offered him up to us and said he would love to come to you. But United dealing with Madrid in 6 days, come on, you'll get a dodgy fax machine on deadline day. If we end up signing Sancho, Telles and Jovic on loan, I'd be very happy with this window, but not with the board though. Glazers out and Woodward out, says Akash Salunki. And would you sign Sancho and Kante? What was that? Would you sign Sancho and Kante instead of Telles? Says Jack Brown 852. I mean, I would, of course I would, but we do need 2 left backs. If we didn't want to use Reguilon as a stopgap, why would we want Dembele as one? Doesn't make sense, says Akil Kamil. And hi Mark, wouldn't it be odd if we did a loan deal for Dembele but refused to do a loan deal for Reguilon, a younger player? That's why I think there's nothing in the Dembele news. What say, says Shrey the Grey. Yeah, I mean you might have something in that. But the reality is, the difference is, if for whatever reason this Sancho deal falls through, and I don't think it will, United leave themselves on desperation street, exactly where they were on the last day of January, where they went from King to Rondon to Igalo. So if the Sancho deal falls through, United have got to produce something. And when you're desperate, you do things you don't want to do. Which is why this whole Sancho scenario has been handled so badly. Because if they don't get it over the line, they'll have to go and do something desperate. But I would say, if the Sancho deal falls through and you've got to do something desperate like take Ousmane Dembele, surely don't let the Sancho deal run through and just pay an extra 10 million to get the player that you want anyway. It will be, it would be ridiculous in my mind to walk away from this deal 10 million off getting a deal done because you don't want to be held to ransom, and yet you paid 80 million pounds for Harry Maguire 12 months ago. If there was ever a deal to walk away from because you thought you were being taken the piss out, it was that. The Sancho one, you're not even getting the piss taken out of you. The reality is you don't want to spend it because you're a little bit worried about the wider financial markets. But he is worth what Dortmund are offering up, to be honest. Hi, Mark. Can you say hi to Ian? He loves the show and has asked for a shout out, says Muzzy Lions. Hello, Ian. Hope you're doing very well. No way Ollie is sanctioning Dembele, says Orlando. Well, and that would be very interesting because it's not always down to what Ollie wants to do, is it? It isn't always down to what Ollie wants to do. We've got plenty of evidence from Van Gaal and Mourinho that sometimes this football club won't get you what you want and will go and get something that you don't necessarily want just to get you something. So, yeah, let's see. Let's just see. Please smash a like on the video, by the way, and also make sure you subscribe if you are new. We've done 4 videos today, maybe 5 videos today. Lots of good content for you, and it's going to be very busy. So make sure that you do that. Luka Jovic is following Manchester United on Instagram, by the way, if that's something that rocks your boat. And you know what? Actually, I've got to say, I'm quite surprised tonight that there isn't a lot of news around United. Last night there was bloody loads. Today we've had loads, but it has gone very, very quiet tonight. So, calm before the storm, whatever. But there isn't loads and loads and loads of updates out there tonight, which is somewhat surprising, if I'm honest with you. I did think that, but Mark looks dejected, says Glenn. He's not. Mark's trying to preserve his sore throat. That's why I've got a high neck on. I've got a bit of a sore throat coming. And you know what? You talk about injuries. If I lose my... Imagine that. We signed Sancho and I've lost my voice. That would be one of the biggest injustices in football. And I'm a bit tired. But no, I have got a bit of a sore throat. Why didn't Romano quote Di Marzio on the striker situation? Weird, says Ryan. Probably doesn't believe it, to be honest. Okay, let's move you on. The storm meaning panic buying, says Benjamin. And I mean, look, you know what? I must just ask. Let's get let's not do 90% club. Out of 10, how confident are you that we're going to sign Sancho now? Just as a snapshot, I just want to gauge the opinion of what everybody feels at the moment. Super chat coming in from King Joseph. He says, "Hi Mark, if we don't get signed Sancho, I think we should play diamond formation with Donny van der Beek." I'll tell you what, there was a story tonight, I saw it on United Report, that that somebody from Donny van der Beek's entourage is unhappy with his role at the club already. And it made me think, he's only been here 5 minutes. You can't moan about that one too much, really, can you? So, you know what? I think Donny van der Beek will start tomorrow night. I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to them doing the watch along tomorrow night as well, because I think there's so much transfer stuff going on at the moment. But it'd be nice just to have a bit of football. That game against Spurs is massive, and I'm still very hopeful that if we do get this Sancho deal done, we get it done before Spurs. My fear is we will get the deal done, but we will have to wait until after the international break to see him. Imagine that. Imagine if we bought him and then he went and played for England and got injured. Mark, get me on the show. I'd rock the shop, says Joshua Harper. A few 5s, a few 4s, a few 9s, a few 7s. Ollie wanting Sancho and Woodward gives him Dembele is like if you ask your parents to get you a PS5 for Christmas and you end up with a PS4. A broken one as well, TJ. One where you can't go online and the disc drive's broken. That's exactly what it is, because he's injured. He's broken. I think 50-50 for Sancho coming at this moment, says Football Red Devils. 87%, 8.5 says Spencer Rice. 10 out of 10 says Kazita John. And I was about 20%, but after tonight I'm actually 97% that he will sign, says Daniel James. And Mark, I was just wondering if you think United would be better off improving their defence and maybe a CDM instead of buying Sancho, says John Joe McCarthy. No, I think they need to get it done. 50% now, 40% later, says Connor Barrow. If Sancho can't happen, who would your alternative option be, says Burka. I don't have one. I don't think there is one. And hi Mark, who is a bigger prat, Woodward or the pineapple seller in Mallorca? Look, the pineapple seller in Mallorca was just trying to sell pineapple. Woodward couldn't sell pineapple to a monkey. I just realised I got that wrong. I don't even know if monkeys like pineapple. Woodward couldn't sell ice to an Eskimo, which is actually probably really hard, because I can't think of a really good one there. Woodward couldn't sell an umbrella to a snowman on a hot day. That's rubbish. I'm losing the plot. I've done too many streams today. Way too many streams today. Look, anyway, smash the like on the video. That's your update for tonight. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, bottom right-hand corner. There's going to be... I tell you what, these next 6 days, I can't guarantee how it's going to end. I think we will end up with Sancho. You know I'm 90%. But there's loads of other things going on. If we finish this transfer window with Jovic, Sancho and Tellez, I think we have rescued a half-decent window. But it's taken too long to get the business done. There's going to be so much going on over the next few days. Nobody can predict what. Nobody can predict when. But we will be here with you to provide you with the updates and the reaction. And obviously join us for that journey. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all in a bit.